What about this weather, hey, for September? Now, this is not a political statement, simply an observation, but I was watching a news report of the American presidential candidates out on the campaign trail this week. And what I noticed was that one candidate is frequently seen wearing a face mask, whilst the other isn't. And it made me wonder about how leaders should respond in a way that fosters confidence. One of the most important leaders in the Bible is Moses. If he were alive today, I wonder if he would mask up. I'm pretty certain that he would. Why do I say that? Well, because after he had been in the presence of God on Mount Sinai and received the 10 Commandments on the tablets of stone, his face glowed with a divine radiance which brought fear to the Israelite people. He was initially unaware of his changed physical appearance, but Exodus 34 and verses 29 and 30 tell us that Aaron and all the people saw that the skin of Moses' face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near. So how did Moses restore physical closeness between himself and the people? He covered his face with a mask. When Moses went to speak with God, he would leave the mask off, and when he told the Israelites what he'd been commanded, the Israelites would see how radiant the skin of Moses' face was, and Moses would put the mask back on his face. Whilst the mask wasn't needed when he was in the presence of the Lord, Moses realised that he couldn't lead his people from a distance. So he devised a solution to allow him to be physically near them, and that was that he wore a mask. That must have been a 40-year inconvenience for Moses as he led the Israelites across a scorching desert from Egypt to Israel. And yet there's no biblical record of Moses ever having moaned about wearing a mask in public for the decades that followed. Moses understood that whilst masks conceal our faces, they reveal our hearts. Are we more focused on our own needs or the welfare of others? It strikes me that maybe we made an unfortunate and profound mistake when we began using the phrase social distancing during this pandemic. What we should perhaps have said instead is physical distancing. The phrase physical distancing acknowledges the need to remain 2 meters apart without negating our need to be socially and emotionally close to one another. With COVID-19 continually in our midst, wearing a mask in a public space communicates, I'm concerned about someone who may be at risk. As we reopen the church this Sunday, all those attending will need to wear a mask. It might be uncomfortable, but it does open up a way that allows us to be physically present with one another, and especially those who fear the contagion. So let's take our inspiration from Moses and seek to protect others, whilst also drawing close to the living God.